This week we read Chukat Balak. Finally we catch up to our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael from the second day of Shavuos when they landed in Eretz Yisrael. They landed Parshas Noseh. We were one parsha off. Now we learn Chukat Balak together. They learn Balak, and we're back together with our brothers in Eretz Yisrael. Very famous Magen Avram in Siman Tov Kuf Pei, where he brings the minig that the Friday of Parshas Chukas is considered a day which is compatible with fasting. It's a good day to fast. And he brings the famous story that in Paris, 800 years ago, 1244, the wagon loads of Gemaras, of Talmud Bavli, were burnt in the public square in Paris. This is a well-documented story. It started with a Meshumid, a Yid who accepted Christianity, who accepted Catholicism, named Nicholas Donen, who went through the Gemara and translated parts of the Gemara for the Pope. And he proved to the Pope that parts of the Gemara are very, very anti-Christian, anti-Catholic. And because of that, they set up a debate with the greatest leaders of the Jewish nation at that time, Rabbi Chil of Paris, Rabbi Moshe of Kusi, and another two great Talmidei Chachamim, but nothing could convince the Pope that the Gemara is not discriminatory, it's not anti-Catholic, it's not anti-Christian, and therefore they decreed that the wagon loads of Gemaras have to be burned. It was a terrible loss, a colossal loss. So we imagine there was no printing presses in those days. Everything was handwritten Gemaras that were burned. Hundreds, maybe perhaps thousands of svarim, of Gemaras were lost forever. There's another, maybe a little less famous footnote to the story, which is the story of Rabbeinu Yoina. We know that Rabbeinu Yoina of Gerudin, Rabbeinu Yoina was one of the opponents of the Rambam. He felt that the Rambam was influenced, too much influenced by Greek philosophy, Aristotle, and he felt that it was not proper to learn the works of the Rambam, primarily Moreh Nevuchim, but also the Mishnah Torah. And he arranged for the non-Jewish leaders at that time to burn the books of the Rambam. He said, we don't want these books in our Jewish land. If one Jew wants to burn another Jew's books, so the guy will be only so happy to accommodate them. And he burned the books. Rabbeinu Yoina connected these two episodes, and when later on, some say it was 40 days later, some say it was 10 years later, but later on, when the decree came to burn the books of the Talmud, the books of the Gemara, of the Talmud Bavli, Rabbeinu Yoina said, I'm at fault. It was because of me, because I initiated the burning of the Rambam, the books of the Rambam, and that's what gave the power that later on somebody can come and burn the books of the Gemara, which was a colossal loss. And because of that, he wrote the Sefer Rabbeinu Yoina as the Shari Tshuva, which is the very famous Musar. Sefer Musar Shari Tshuva was written because he wanted to do tshuva on the fact that he went too strongly against the Rambam. Of course, there's the Magen Avram continues. He brings us from the Sefer Tanya Rabasi. Why is it that on Friday we fast? Why don't we find out the date when it was and fast on that date? Because it's connected to our parsha. Zeis Chukas HaTorah. The Targum Unkla says Do Gezeras Araisa. This is the Gezerah, is the Targum of the word Chukas, but it also means the Gezerah, the terrible decree, which happened connected to our holy Torah, connected with the Talmud Bavli. We all have differences of opinions. We all have different minhagim. Different communities do different things, and we are obviously free to disagree, and everybody should go on their path and in their tradition of what they were taught by their rabbanim and their fathers and their forefathers. But the Rabbeinu Yoina is teaching us that we have to be very careful to what extent we take machlekes, to what extent we take a difference of opinion. Is it a difference of opinion or is it a conflict? Is it saying I learned this sefer and I learned this sefer, and this sefer is one that conforms to my minhagim, or saying this sefer is garbage and we got to burn and we have to throw it out? Obviously, we have to safeguard our community. We have to make sure that the influences from the outside don't penetrate our community. But within Torah, Judaism, we have to be able to respect all the paths of Torah, all the minhagim, all the beautiful kehillas that there are, chas v'shalom, not to come to the level of conflict, to be to the level of machlekas, which can lead to the terrible events that happened 800 years ago. Good Shabbos. Please don't forget to subscribe. You'll get the video every week by subscribing. Put a like. Thank you very much. Good Shabbos.